Good morning, beautiful people. So I'm here on my walk again this morning. So much has been coming up for me myself this past couple of days. And I always know that because when you do this work as a coach and a facilitator, you know, all the things that are going on out there tend to come to you because there's going to be somebody coming to you in regards to this, or just the fact that you're always learning, you're open to receiving, and when you come from an open heart, you're open to receiving it all. And that means the good and the bad, or the good and the challenging, I should say. So this morning I want to talk into something that when I heard about it, I was like, oh my God, yes. And this is for all the women out there. And it's called Rushing Women's Syndrome. And I'm listening to a book at the moment. And there's another group that I'm in. And there's a book by the same doctor, and she'd written, and one of the girls posted it up, and I sort of tried to find it on Audible, but they didn't have it. But they had this other book by the same doctor. It's her second book, and it's called Rushing Women's Syndrome. I was like, oh, well, I've got a credit. Let's grab that book and we'll have a listen. I'm about 10 minutes in, and already I've had what I call the slap and tickles, you know, or the bitch slap. And you start listening to what she's saying, and you're like, oh my God, that is so true. It is so true. It's this rushing women's syndrome. We live in a world where we're rushing all the time. We're rushing from the first thing to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. And, you know, I'm just speaking into this from a woman's perspective at the moment, and I know that men probably have the same, but my expertise, or my where I work into is with women, so I can't really comment on men, but I know as a woman how much this hinders us, this need to be busy all the time, this need to have a to-do list that's 100 miles long that never gets finished, that continuously just keeps adding onto. And there's almost this pleasure in knowing that we've got this to-do list and that we're filling it up all the time. It's this, what's the word? It's like that's where we see our value, in this massive to-do list. It gives us accountability, but it gives us this, just trying to think of what the words are. I'm feeling this so much even within myself. It's this justification of where we spend our time. Because when someone asks us, oh, I've got 100 things to do, I've got all these things to do, I'm in the middle of my to-do list that's, you know, miles long, but I'm getting through it, It's like, as women, we've got to justify where we're spending our time. It's like and I'm not necessarily saying that anybody else's expectation, it's ourselves. We put so much pressure on ourselves to give this justification about what we do during the day. And if you go and do a job, and say you're a mum, and you do a job, and I know you're going to be really busy because I've been there too, so you come home and you're justifying all of your time to other people. And and good morning.
G'day.
And it's really interesting. But what's even more interesting and scary is how much damage are you doing to yourself? How much physical damage are you doing to yourself? you're doing so much damage. And listening to this doctor and listening to her and what she's saying and all the things for us as women, especially like for myself now when we go into menopause, holy shit. Like this need to be the rushy woman, having to tick everything off. And just the fact of saying, you know what, I'm exhausted, or I'm tired, or I just need some downtime. It's like women won't take that time because there's a to-do list. And that to-do list won't get done when we take time out. But, you know, or we feel, again, it comes back to that judgment. And I don't even think it's the judgment that we think others will put on us. I think it's the judgment that we put on ourselves. It's the judgment that we put on ourselves, thinking that, oh, if I take a bit of a break, who am I to take a break? Because, you know, my husband or my partner or whatever, they're at work all day. And then who am I to take a break? Who am I to just sit down and take a moment? Who am I to go, I'm just going to read a book this afternoon? Or, you know, and what it does is it actually drives us deeper into depression, drives us deeper into having physical pain. It drives us deeper into having morning. It drives us deeper into having hormonal issues, thyroid issues, stress issues with the cortisol and everything else as well. And if you're already in that menopausal or perimenopausal stage, your body's already feeling into that. And it was really interesting. The first 5 minutes of the book I was listening to was that, and I'll drop the book in the bottom section afterwards, is have a read or have a listen. It's an amazing book. And, you know, when you think about all the things that's going on in your life, and why now? Why now when everybody is supposed to have the best lives? Why is it that we've got so much technology around us that's supposed to make our lives easier? It's not making our lives easier. It's actually putting a hell of a lot more stress on our lives, because there's this need to be all the time, just to be here, to be available, to be seen, to be heard, to be to be all these things. And she talks in the first part of the book in when we didn't have technology, and even before, years ago, you know, we used to farm our food. So we'd farm our food, so we needed to physically go and harvest the food. So we needed to have farms, we needed to work in the garden, we needed to walk. You know, food wasn't as accessible it is now. You know, there wasn't a McDonald's to just drive down. Not that I'm calling that food, but, you know, there wasn't all these corner stores. There wasn't an Uber dropping your food to your door. I mean, even that one dumbfounds me sometimes, because I'm like, you know, how hard is it to go down this shop and get some food? But now people are becoming so lazy and so victim to this technology of that they ordering food to their house. Like, you know, back in the day, you might have ordered a pizza. I mean, that's probably been the only consistent thing for probably the last 30 years is dial a pizza. But other than that, but now you can order anything to your house. And you've got to really start thinking about that, going, so if you're doing less and less and less, you're doing less walking, less physical activity, less preparing your own meals, what is that doing to your body? And so the rushing woman syndrome is that you're not rushing to do any of those normal things, like, you know, prepare food or grow food, morning, or grow food or any of those things. You're just rushing, being rushed all the time. You're being rushed to get onto technology, rushed to go to the job, rushed to do the 101 things, and it's not actually benefiting you. It's actually hindering you. So one of the things that even myself just started a new business too, and I was thinking in this massive, expansive space of filling every little gap, filling up every little gap in my day. I could do this, and it's been a real eye-opener for myself too, to go, well, actually, how hard do I really want to work? And I don't mean that from a negative place, but it's like I'm filling up every little bit of time, and even though it's good to have a schedule, and I said this the other day, time management, but within that time management, you also have to manage in the downtime, right? I mean, you need to measure in the downtime. You can't fill up your day full of stuff that is just doing. And, and on the weekend, there was 2 times over the weekend that I had a nana nap. I don't nana nap, right? I know I'm a grandma now, but I still don't nana nap. And I had this thought of going, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me that I am so tired I have to just close my eyes and have 20-minute kip or an hour kip? Like, there's something wrong with me, because that shit don't happen to me. But, it's in this space, my body, and I talked into this a little bit yesterday, my phone tells me my body battery needs recharging. And, when I started listening to that book this morning about the rushing women's syndrome, I was like, holy crap, that's me. I have this rushing women's syndrome. And even though I'm probably not as rushing as I used to be, I've dropped that a little bit now because I've compartmentalized my day and where I'm spending my time. So I've sort of brought that back a little bit. But even so, I'm still the rushing woman, which of course puts your nervous system under more stress, under more pressure. It's running behind the scenes, which is going to cause and create issues down the track, physically, mentally, spiritually. So I suppose in talking into this today, it's given me a great awareness, which is 50% of the solution always, is your awareness of what even I'm doing. So what are you doing? Are you the rushing woman syndrome as well? Do you have the rushing woman syndrome? We don't need to put a title on it, but it's just a way to start to think about your life and where can you free up some time? Where can you allocate some time where you're not rushing and you're actually allocating that time to start to decompress, to just be, to just sit in stillness and not feel the guilt in it, and not have to justify yourself, and not have to make up some excuse that you're sick or tired or whatever. How about it's just part of your well-being? Part of your well-being, you eat well, you go to the gym, but you rest. You rest as well. It's so interesting because overseas, like in Europe, they siesta during the day. But, God forbid, that we would rest during the day. But if we don't rest, we're going to keep burning out. And we're going to keep creating more issues for our bodies. We're going to keep creating more mental health issues, right? The stresses and the pressure to be and do everything all the time is killing us. It's literally killing us. It's a slow burn, but it is killing us, right? We need to really start looking at our lives and looking at what is best for us, for our best selves, our best well-being. How can we really be that best version of ourselves? You know, by taking some time out every day. Take some time out every day, even if it's a half an hour, 45 minutes, no matter, but take the time out. You know, stop rushing, slow down. I say this to people all the time, and I thought it was me just because I'm getting older and I'm, you know, in menopause now. So I can't do all the things I used to do. They really challenged me now. You know, I used to be able to get up and do this. And it's like I had this merit on myself of, yes, I'm so good because I can just whack out all this stuff. But now I think about it, listening to this doctor and what she's saying, I think about it now and I go, wow, that wasn't something to be proud of. That wasn't something to be proud of at all. That was actually quite stupid for myself to be rushing like a banshee woman around everywhere, creating that. And we create it in our kids too when we rush them. You know, I was listening to something the other day and this lady was talking about her son and how I think they both had ADHD. But, you know, whether you've got ADHD or you're just living a normal life, you know, we all have that space. And sometimes I feel that those people are gifted because, you know, they can't move at a fast pace sometimes. They need to just slow down because everything becomes overwhelming. So they've actually got this trigger in them that really sets it up. But for those of us who haven't been diagnosed with anything, we just think we can just plow through everything. But we can't. We can't just plow through everything, and we shouldn't just be plowing through everything. We should be resting and taking time out and being in nature and feeling connected and doing all those things, you know? And it's never too late to start. Just start today. Start in this space today, you know? But I was listening to this lady and she was saying that she was rushing because she was behind. She had to be somewhere. And so she's rushing her child, her son, and he was about 8. And she was rushing him. She's like, come on, hurry up, we need to get going. And he just stopped. He just looked at her and he said, Mum, stop. Stop, Mum. You're rushing me. I need time. And it really pulled her up and went, oh, wow, I'm rushing you because I'm behind. But he needed the time. And it's when I listened to that, I thought it's almost like our inner selves, our body telling us, like when we get tired, like when we get frustrated, like when we get, you know, low, when we get a little bit low in our energy, which starts to make us feel not good about ourselves. I don't want to use the word depression because that's like a big word, but you know what I mean, when we're feeling low in ourselves. That's like that inner child within us telling us, stop, I need some time. I need some time to just be. I can't be rushed right now. But society that we live in, they don't work that way. They don't work in that space. It's like, and we've been conditioned into that, you know, we've been conditioned into that space. You know, and on the weekend we were out and we were at a hotel, and I'm guilty of it. I'll raise my hand and I'll take the accountability of it. But, you know, it was interesting because all the staff behind the bar were walking really slow. They weren't in they weren't at a fast pace. They were just casually gliding along. And my first thing, which I'll call myself out on the judgment here, because I used to work in hospitality and we were flat out. It was bang, 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 bang. Let's get it done. Let's move. My first thing was like, wow, they're not moving very fast. Why aren't they getting this shit done? There's plates all piled up here. There's cups over here. Why aren't they getting it done? Why aren't they moving faster? Why aren't they getting this done? Because there's people lined up and it's just a big mess. You know, but now thinking about that, having to take time. Now, look, I think there's a time and a place for us to move fast, and there's a time and a place for us to just be slow and relaxed. And I think that maybe at work, we should be a little bit faster, depending on what work you're doing. But if you're doing something like that and there's people lined up, I think you need to move a little bit faster. But even so, it was just something that poured in my mind, and I was like, interesting that some people are moving slower. And those of us who have grown up in a world where everything has been go, 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 we are so wound up into being in that space that it's really difficult to slow down. And that's the thing, especially as women, because as women we're wearing many hats, wearing the mum hat, the grandma hat, the wife hat, the sister hat, the friend hat, the working hat, the business owner hat. You know, you're wearing all these hats, so you're always interchanging these hats. And so you're just moving really fast all the time. And I think we just got to remember that sometimes we need the rest hat. We need the hat that says, this is me time, this is my time. I'm off duty right now for everything and anything. I'm off duty. This is my rest time hat. And we need to put that hat on. We need to put that hat on too, because the rushing woman syndrome is not being helpful, as I mentioned before. It's not helpful to us. So maybe I would encourage you today to have a look in your day today. Where are you allocating some time to put on your rest hat, put on your slow down hat, and actually not be in a rushing space? And then have a look at your week and start looking at where you can allocate the time. So if you are time scheduling, like what I mentioned to do last week, like a budget on a spreadsheet, time scheduling your time so you know where all your time's going, and then adding in those rest periods of time, whether that be you're just going to read a book, or whether you're just going to just sit and listen to music, or if you've got some art that you want to do. Art is a fantastic way to slow down, because you're in the creative space. And when you're in the creative space, you're in the feminine space. When we're in the doing all the time, and when we're in that rushing woman syndrome doing, we're in the masculine. And masculine can be quite harsh to us, harsh body-wise, because we're doing, which is burning out. We need to stay back in that soft, feminine, creative space, you know. And when we're in that space, you'll notice that when you drop into that space, you're very flowing, and everything happens quite smoothly. And yeah, it's just remembering to drop into that space. So I hope this has been helpful for you this morning. I'm going to go and start continuing on listening to that beautiful book, and I will drop in the comments below, I will drop the book if you want to get it for yourself on Audible and have a bit of a listen. But it's a fantastic book, and I think it's going to add additional beautiful information to my workshops, and even drop a little bit into the Warrior Woman. And as always, as I mentioned, that I do have Warrior Woman coming up on Friday the 9th of February. It's a full-day seminar. It's going to be very transformational, and it's going to be a space where you can start to really become aware of the 5 pillars of life, being the self-love, boundaries, expectations, value, and abundance. And that is going to be the key space for your foundational transformations into being the most powerful version of yourself. And when I say powerful, I'm not talking about all in your masculine. I'm talking about having the power to say no to things when you continue to say yes to things, and we get the burnout, as what I'm talking about now. So it's going to be an amazing space. If you're interested in getting more information coming along, please just drop me a PM in here, or just message me, and I'll be in touch. Now, as always, wishing you a wonderful day, sending you love and light. And also, I want you to remember these 3 things as always. You are beautiful. You are loved. And you are so worth it. Remember that always. Also, just to remind me, I'm looking at this little logo here on my ice bathing. We're doing a sunset ice bath this Friday night, 7 p.m, Semaphore South. If you're interested, check my page. I've put up the event, and we'll be doing a sunset one. We're going to have a bit of a dance in there as well this time, as well as a breath and meditation. But we're going to do a bit of, dancing under the sunset, which will be fantastic. Getting the body moving on a Friday evening, actually, after a busy probably week for most people. So yeah, we'll be doing that on Friday night, as well as our normal Saturday morning on the Saturday morning. So wishing you a fabulous day, and I look forward to seeing you all very soon, somewhere or another.